Hi, I'm Todd with TLF Works, and today I'm going to build a pen based on an idea that I got from Lynn Lacey after returning from SWAT, Southwest Area Turners Association Symposium down in Waco, Texas. And while I was down there, I bought some pen blanks. Here's some of them I bought. These came from MuttBlanks.com. One of them specifically is this honeycomb and aluminite resin blank here. And when I got this blank, I was thinking in my mind what a great idea it would be to pair this up with a Vertex Supreme pen blank in chrome. And then after watching this video from Lynn Lacey, that I'll link it down below, after watching his video, I thought, what a great idea he had in taking pieces of wood like this little scrap here and appending it to the ends of the barrels on each end of the cap and the body of the pen to enhance the visual appeal of the pen. So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to take the pen blank from SWAT, the idea from Lynn Lacey, and make a Vertex Supreme pen. So here's our Vertex Supreme kit that we'll be using today. Let's open it up and see what we have. Got our refill, tubes. Let's see if we can get these parts sort of in line a little bit and open up these instructions that we won't refer to. So we're going to start off by measuring these tubes. I don't really care how long the tubes are. I just want to make my blanks.
Make sure it's long enough?
Yeah, make sure this is long enough. I want to make sure that I cut my blanks long enough for the tubes, but short enough to where I can add my accent pieces in. So I'm at, let's see here, better zero this thing out. 0. We're on inches. I'm at 2.6. Alright, 2.6. So if I take about 1/4 of an inch off of each side of that, it's about a 1/2 inch total. Gives me a 1/4 inch for each one of these. I'm at 2.1. So I'm going to call it 2.2. So let me write that down.
Do you need a Sharpie?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
And now let's look at this one. We're going to do the same thing with it. So 1.7, I'm going to take a 1/2 inch off of 1.7. So we're at we're going to call it 1.3. We're going to leave it just a little long. I didn't need to use this at all. I had a pencil right here. Okay, so this first one needs to be, we're calling it 2.2, so that's 2 1/4. We're going to estimate up to. We'll leave a little for the saw curve. We're going to cut right here. Next one's 1.3. Going to leave a little bit for the saw curve. It doesn't have to be exact right now. So let's do 1 3/8. Let's something like that right there. Let's see how that's going to look here. What happened to that?
It was hiding.
So we're set. Let's make our cuts. Let's square up these ends. Well, I forgot to turn the microphone on, so we don't have any sound here. So I'm taking the accent pieces and using some medium CA and gluing them to the body of these blanks, and just making sure that it looked like there was going to be plenty of room on there for the accent pieces and the tube. So it all looked good. So now I'm marking the centers of these blanks, so I can mount them up here on the lathe and turn it round so it can go into my pen jaws. So, and I've also increased the speed here a little bit, as you might notice. And as I was doing this, it dawned on me that I really didn't need to turn these round because the accent pieces were actually smaller than the body of the blank, and so I could mount something in my pen jaws to drill out the center without having to pre-turn the blank. But anyway, here I am. This is the main body of the pen that I'm drilling out right here. It's a 10.5 millimeter bit, and it is extremely dull. I actually stopped at one point and changed to another extremely dull bit, and it took a while to drill through there. And there I am finishing up. There's just a little piece at the end I had to poke off, and now I've got the cap on there, which is 12 and a half. And it was a very sharp bit, and it just flew right through. So after I drilled out those holes, I'm getting ready to glue in the tubes using some 2-part epoxy. Flew right through that. Now I'm using the barrel trimmer to get down to the tubes on each side. I was taking it nice and slow here. I want to make sure I didn't reduce the length of those tubes. Had a little bit of glue inside the tube. I'm working out there, and yeah, so switching there to the cap, doing the same thing. And now I put them on the lathe. I'm going to turn them down. This Alumilite with the aluminum honeycomb was really hard to turn, actually, and then the wood, of course, was very easy to turn. So I had to be real careful as I was moving across with that carbide tool that it wouldn't just bite right into and take out all of the wood. So I switched over to this roughing gouge. Have a little bit more control with it. Notice how I keep my hand secured onto the tool rest there, so I can work with the tool and control the angle of the tool, and switch from the cap down to the body. Roughed it out with the carbide tool, sort of finished it off with that roughing gouge. I have a spindle gouge. Picked up this roughing gouge. It was nice and sharp. I just went with it. Getting ready here to sand. I started sanding on the pen mandrel, and I really don't like sanding on the pen mandrel. I prefer to sand without the bushings on. That way I don't have to worry about material from the bushings getting into the wood, and I don't have to worry about sanding down my bushings. So I switched here to between centers. I've got a 60-degree dead center there and a 60-degree live center, and I'm sanding through up to 600 with these. I did the first 3 grits with the mandrel, and now I'm going to put on about 8 coats of thin CA. I give it a little spritz of the accelerator between each coat, and doesn't take very long to get about 8 coats on. Started to look real good. It was nice and smooth. So put the body on, finished up the sanding between centers with it. I'm going to wipe it down with a little acetone before or a little accelerator before I go into the CA. Get all the dust and everything off of it. 6-8 coats of CA again, little spritz of accelerator between each one, and then I'm going to move to the sanding pads. So Well, you can see on the screen there my chart that shows what colors go in what order for the pads. So work my way through. I spend about 10 seconds on each pad here, and there's 9 of them, so a little less than 2 minutes to do each barrel in real time. We've got it sped up quite a bit here, and so working through them. Going to put a little fine polish on there from Nova, and then a little Renaissance wax, and move to the next. There's the cap. Go through all the pads again, all 9 of them. Doesn't take long. Next thing you know, I'm already at 6,000, 8,000, 12,000 in a heartbeat there. A little bit of polish coming up. A little bit of Renaissance wax. Buff it out. Pull it off the lathe, and I'm ready to assemble. So we'll move over to the assembly table. I noticed that there was some CA going over the edges and that they weren't really flat, so I pulled out some sandpaper, and now I'm getting rid of that CA that's come over the edge of the tube and making sure that that tube is nice and square on each end before I put the components on it. This is really a simple pen to assemble. Goes pretty quick. There's a couple couplers there. One thing you have to pay attention to is that when you're doing the cap, and it was right there, there's a little ring that you have to make sure is on the non-clip side of it. It's a nice little decorative rim, and so put the spring in. The spring wasn't going all the way down to the bottom, so put the spring in, put the tip on, rub it down a little bit, and there's my pen. So we'll throw up a little picture at the end here. Pretty happy with it. It looks great. And thank you for watching. And I hope to have some subscribers. So don't forget to ring that bell. I'm gonna start to do these videos quite often. Thanks.